What's up, booktube? It's Leah Cooper, and today I'm bringing you my October TBR, which will include my Gothtober TBR. Pretty sure that's what the readathon's called. I know there are a billion readathons going this month. Everyone loves Halloween. Everyone wants to do Halloween readathon. I get it. Usually I kind of do Spooktober, but Gothtober crossed my Twitter feed, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna use that as our inspiration jumping off point, and we're just gonna go with it. Even though I'm definitely not gonna hit all of their challenges, like not at all. Actually, I'm aiming to read a couple of things off of my 20 to read in 2020 TBR. First and foremost, I have to read Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. So this has been on my 20 and to read in 2020 TBR with the intention to read it in October. So I have to read it this month. I bought this literally for Spooktober like 2 or 3 years ago, and I just never got around to reading it. And I really want to. The movie adaptation of this book is like one of my favorite movies. And I really want to read the book. I've never read an Alice Hoffman. I really want to read it, and I think I'm going to like it. So I'm going to read this. One of the challenges for Gothtober is to read a book with an undead thing in it, like an undead character, creature, whatever. And I'm counting this because presumably that guy who comes back from the dead, who they kill and comes back from the dead, and who they then have to put down in the movie, I'm assuming he's in this book. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Hopefully that wasn't just made up whole cloth for the movie. But I'm counting him as my undead thing. And then the book that really inspired me to pick Gothtober, because it's a gothic book, and also from my 20 to read in 2020 TBR, is Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. And I know I'm like the last person who wants to read this who hasn't read this yet. Because like everyone who wants to read this has read this, and everyone else doesn't want to read it. This is a scary book because it's 1,000 pages. And I mean, it is a mass market paperback, but it has the tiniest print I have ever seen in a mass market paperback. This is smaller than the print in my copy, my very, very old, I've probably lost it or sold it away copy of War and Peace. This is such a big book, and I find that very intimidating. From watching reviews of people who have read this and love this, like listening to Maya talk about it and listening to Kelsey talk about it, it sounds like it's linguistically pretty dense and true to the time period book. Like the language is true to the time, and it's a pretty linguistically dense book. And so I don't think it's going to be a speedy read for me. But I have this copy of it. I know it's well beloved. I think there is value in checking this out, because I think generally Susanna Clark is considered quite a masterful writer. So I do want to try it. And I want to challenge myself to get this read in a single month. And it's gothic. So there you go. It's also a book. It fits the challenge for Gothtober in that it takes place in a different country. It takes place in England. I live in America. There you go. And then I wanted to go ahead and try to read one more thing off my 20 to read in 2020 TBR, because I just want to get this read. And that is The Death of Mrs. Westove by Ruth Ware. So I was thinking this would work well in October, not because it takes place in October, but because it is a thriller, and I want to say it like verges on being more of like a modern gothic thriller, because I know it's a old house kind of mystery. So on a day that begins like any other, Harriet Westaway receives a mysterious letter bequeathing her a substantial inheritance from her grandmother. Hal knows there's been a mistake. Her grandparents have been dead for more than 20 years, and she hasn't had anyone to help her since her mother died. But the bills are piling up, and Hal's running out of options. So she goes to the English countryside to accept her inheritance, and presumably either investigates the death of Mrs. Westaway. Like I'm assuming. I've never read Ruth Ware, but she's known around the booktube parts. So I got this book as a birthday gift last year. My sister bought me a book box subscription, and this was a bonus book in it, and I really just want to get it read. My sister really loves mysteries too, and so yeah, if I like this, I think it could be something she'd really like, so I want to get it read. And yeah, this fits the challenge of read a book with a female protagonist. I think that's a challenge. So yeah, I think those are my only 3 challenges I'm going to try to hit for Gothtober. I'll leave a link to their Twitter down below because they have a lot of cool stuff, fun announcements. I'll leave a link to the announcement video as well, so you can check it out. So yeah, not like super high participation or anything, but 3 books, 3 challenges, and I think it'll be fun. Those are like some good October reads. In addition to these, I do also have to read 2 arcs. One of them I've already started, which is The Adventures of Isabelle by Candace Jane Dorsey. This is an upcoming LGBT queer mystery novel set in Canada, which I didn't know when I picked it up. And that's kind of a unique thing. I don't think we get a whole lot of books set in Canada. I'm currently reading this. It doesn't fit like with October at all, but it is coming out in October. So I'm going to be reading that. And then there's another arc I have to read. I've been terrible about requesting arcs just because like there's so many interesting books that intrigue me coming out. Okay, so then the other arc I have is 7 of Infinities by Elliot de Badard, and this is coming out right at the end of October. I think this is set in the same universe as her Tea Master and the Detective novella, and I know there's On a Red Station Rising. Is that the other one? I have not read either of those novellas, but I did read de Badard's short story collection, which was Of Starlight and Memories and Starlight, something like that. I will leave a link to the Goodreads page for that collection down below, because it was an amazing collection of short stories. I loved almost every single one in there, and I think Elliot de Badard has such an amazing, especially her science fiction short story work, I think is amazing. A lot of it, I think, had stories that were took place in this universe, or they riff on the ideas of this universe, but like you can see her playing with similar ideas and themes and world building elements, and it's so interesting, and it is so good. And so I saw Kelsey got a copy of this arc, and I was like, I want a copy of that. So I went on NetGalley and I saw it was still available to request, so I requested it. So I'm really excited to read this, really hoping I'll be able to follow it. Even though I haven't read the other novellas, I think I will, because I suspect they're all just kind of companion novels with character cameos, so I should be okay. But yeah, I'm really excited for this arc. So that is 5 books. Yeah, it's only 5 books, but literally Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell counts as 3 books for me, because my average page length is like 330 pages, and this is 1,000 pages. So really it's like 7 books, which is my normal TBR. And actually the other thing I'm going to do is this book has parts. It has 3 parts to it. And the other thing I'm going to try to help myself is I'll read one part, and then if I'm feeling a little slowed or bogged down by this, I'm going to go ahead and like read something else and then come back and read part 2 and treat it like it's 3 books, just in case. Like if I get totally sucked into this book when I start reading it, then I'll just read it straight through. But I just don't know. I'm so afraid. It's so long. I haven't read a book this long since I read Lord of the Rings when I was like 12, and I'm just not that reader anymore. Actually, I guess I read War and Peace when I was like 14, but that doesn't count either. So anyways, there you go. That's the stuff I'm reading, the sort of readathons I'm participating in. My camera just straight up fell on me, so I'm gonna call it there. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in my wrap-up, which I'll be posting in a couple of days. Look out for that one. It's full of a lot of great space opera reads. That's all I can say. Oh, and a quick life update. I mentioned, I think in my last video, that I was really kind of depressed because my financial aid for school had gotten canceled. Well, they told me that I should just go ahead and petition that decision because they tend to forgive it as long as you're not a repeat offender. I lost my financial aid because last year I only completed like 45% of my attempted credits, and so I wasn't considered making enough academic progress. But it was the first year I'd ever done financial aid, so I'm not a repeat offender. So I went ahead and I submitted my petition and explained why I had crashed out of my classes so bad last year, which was because I was taking programs that I didn't like in an area of study that kind of dredged up a lot of bad memories and gave me depression. And then I got the flu. And I was also working at the time, and I had to decide between working with the flu or going to school and working with the flu. And I decided to just do the work and the flu thing and not do the school and the depression thing. And they actually decided to forgive my SAP appeal and went ahead and awarded me my financial aid. And so today was my first day. I'm recording this on September 30th. Today was my first day of the quarter. I'm taking a program in literary criticism and creative writing, and I'm really excited. It's all online through Zoom, which I've not done Zoom before, but today was awesome. It was great. I don't know why we as a society are not moving more towards doing stuff long distance over Zoom like this. Like, I don't know why COVID was the thing that forced us to do this, because it's so convenient. Like, I mean, maybe it's just because colleges still want to pay sell you parking passes. I don't know, because like the class was exactly like class in person, right down to breaking up into small groups and having our own private little chat room for that. So yeah, I'm really excited, hoping to finally finish my bachelor's degree this year, since I have nothing better to do with my time, let's be real, because I can't go out and get another job. I work in food service and retail. I'm lucky enough to not have a lot of bills to pay, and so I'm just staying out of that because it's really not safe. And so yeah, since I can stay out of it, I am staying out of it, but I want to be productive in some way. So I'm so happy that I can be productive in this way, and I'm really hoping that kind of being challenged to read and do literary analysis and also to do creative writing that's outside of my like comfort zone, and by comfort zone I mean my rut. I'm hoping it'll help me get back into writing, because like I've got a couple novellas sequels I need to write to Essex Colony that I really want to write. Like today we were doing free writing exercises and I was like writing snippets of things that could be in the sequel to Essex Colony. They might never be though. And it was like really cool to actually be doing something and to not be worried and so tied up in a knot about whether or not I can sell it. Like people will want to read it and will buy it. That I just have the freedom to write it, and it's like fine. It can just live in my notebook and never get typed up. It's fine. So yeah, I'm really hoping that this quarter and next quarter, because this is actually like a 3-quarter length program. It goes on all year, and I think I'm probably gonna end up taking it all year. I'm really hoping it kind of gets me out of that rut and helps me rebuild some very, very shaken confidence in my writing. Oh, and that reminds me, I'm actually going to be reading 2 books this month for class. One of them is The Activist by Renee Gladman, and the other one is The Street by Ann Petrie. So these are both African American texts on life and resistance and activism and stuff like that. So I'm also going to be reading those 2 things for class, and I meant to mention them in the main body of this video and I completely spaced. So I'm glad I was doing this life update. There you go. I'm actually going to be trying to read 7 actual things. Well, 9 things with Jonathan Strange and Mr. Noel. But yeah, there you go. Let me know what readathons you're planning to participate in this month, if you are participating in any. Let me know if you've read this and what you thought of it. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.